strikes. Here, it's always Halloween. And I'm always your haunted host, Luce Tomlin Brenner. Today, I bring you a scary story of life after death. But first, I have an announcement. Wait, let me make that a little more Halloween-y. I have an announcement. Come this way, please. Step carefully around the red crushed velvet curtain and visit me here behind the ghastly machine. I want to let you in on a little secret, a tale both personal and one as old as time. Yes, I'm speaking of the Great Restructuring, a cursed practice that visits creators who walk into a foggy thicket on their own. Each week, I've been prancing through the forest, turning over new stones and carefully adding what I find there into my cauldron. Now, as the days grow darker, I'm plunging fiercely into territories beyond the Halloween woods. I'm finding strange stones with screeching creatures crawling underneath that I've never seen before. Such discoveries call for longer hours at my cauldron, thumping and stirring, mincing and whirring. What's that you say, dear listeners? You're getting tangled in the thorny vines of this hexed metaphor? I don't blame you. The murky world here behind the machine is often disorienting. Plainly said, over the past week, I've realized I've ravaged through all the research I did before the podcast launched, and now I need more time to research future episodes. Like I've hinted at on recent Small Frights, I will be structuring future episodes of It's Always Halloween like chapters on various inspired subjects. Each chapter on a topic will unfurl over several episodes. I will take time off between each chapter to research and write. Small Frights episodes will continue to come out each week, so please keep calling and writing and sharing your Halloween memories, experiences, and questions. I'm currently putting together a chapter on the history of our fascination with skeletons and how death is at the very center of our Halloween celebrations. I was hoping to launch it this week, but I keep finding more and more I want to share with you. So our new chapter will officially launch next week, I think. I've added a research assistant to the It's Always Halloween team to help me streamline the process, so please give a hearty, spooky, terrifying welcome to Isaac McDaniel.
I bid you welcome.
Isaac teaches history in the South Bay, here in Southern California. He loves learning about how different cultures celebrate and honor their dead, and he is also my boyfriend. Isaac, we are delighted to have you here. Please watch your feet as you're walking here behind the machine. The floor is covered with spiders. Now, on to our story. In the coming weeks, we will explore the ways in which skeletons, the plainest symbol of our mortality, have danced in our minds since ancient times. But for now, let's listen to Aaron Kelly's Bones, as retold by Alvin Schwartz in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Aaron Kelly was dead. They bought him a coffin, they had a funeral, and they buried him. But that night, he got out of his coffin and he came home. His family was sitting around the fire when he walked in. He sat down next to his widow and he said, "What's going on? Y'all act like someone died. Who's dead?" His widow said, You are. "I don't feel dead," he said. "I feel fine." You don't look fine," his widow said. You look dead. You better get back in the grave where you belong." "I'm not getting back into that grave until I feel dead," Aaron Kelly said. Since Aaron wouldn't go back, his widow couldn't collect his life insurance. Without that, she couldn't pay for his coffin. And the undertaker said he was going to take it back. But Aaron didn't care. He just sat by the fireplace, rocking in a chair and warming his hands and feet. But his joints were dry and his back was stiff. And every time he moved, he creaked. And every time he rocked, he cracked. One night, the best fiddler in town came to court the widow. Since Aaron was dead, the fiddler wanted to marry her. The two of them sat on one side of the fire, and Aaron sat on the other side, creaking and crackling. "How long do we have to put up with this dead corpse?" the widow asked. "Something must be done," said the fiddler. "This isn't very jolly," said Aaron. "Let's dance." The fiddler got out his fiddle and began to play. Aaron stretched himself, shook himself, got up and took a step or two, and then began to dance. With his old bones rattling and his yellow teeth snapping, his bald head wagging and his arms flip-flopping all around, he twirled, and around he went. With his long legs clicking, his knee bones knocking, he skipped and pranced around the room. How that dead man danced! But pretty soon a bone worked loose and fell to the floor. "Look at that," said the fiddler. "Play faster," said the widow. The fiddler played faster. Crickety-crack, down and back the dead man went hopping. His dry bones kept dropping this way and that way. Bones and pieces kept popping. "Play, men, play," cried the widow. The fiddler fiddled, and dead Aaron danced. Then Aaron fell apart, collapsed into a pile of bones, all except his bald head bone. That grinned at the fiddler. It cracked its teeth, and it kept dancing. "Oh, look at that," groaned the fiddler. "Play louder," cried the widow. "Ho-ho," said the head bone. "Ain't we having fun now?" The fiddler couldn't stand it. "Widow," he said, "I'm going home," and he never came back. The family gathered up Aaron's bones and put them back in the coffin. They mixed them up so he couldn't fit them all back together again. After that, Aaron stayed in his grave, but his widow never did get married again. Aaron had seen to that. I have a lot of thoughts about the origins of this story, but I don't want to spoil anything for you, and we will dive deeper into the lore around this story and our fear of dancing skeletons when our chapter officially starts. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your opinions on Aaron Kelly's bones and the fear of death and skeletons in general. Please give us a call on the All Hallows Hotline at 802-532-DEAD and leave me a message. Or you can write me an eeeekmail at itsalwayshalloweenpodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to feature your stories, ideas, input, and questions on a future Small Frights Friday episode. You can also reach out on Instagram at itsalwayshalloweenpodcast. There you'll find all kinds of Halloween pictures, recommendations, as well as all the visuals that correspond to each episode. You can also reach out on Patreon at patreon.com/itsalwayshalloween. We have 5 delicious candy tiers inspired by the joys of trick-or-treating. If you love It's Always Halloween, I would love it if you considered subscribing. It's Always Halloween is researched, written, and performed by me, Luce Tomlin-Brenner. The editing, theme music, and sound design is by Pete Burns. Thanks, Pete. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please subscribe and write us a little review so other like-minded ghouls can find us. Now you can also subscribe on the NPR One app. Thanks so much for listening to It's Always Halloween, and come back next time unless you get caught in the machine.